Hello, I'm Azortharion. In this video, I'll go over Mythic Sennarth and Dragonflight beta raid testing, and I'll go over some of my considerations as a BM hunter in this fight during testing. And yeah, let's kick it off. So here in the beginning, we just got a ton of ads we're gonna clear out. So I'm sending my whole AoE, like I used a pretty much AoE build for this fight, just to get rid of these. Maybe I should have run more single target, but you kind of want to cleave things down on demand as well, which can be a little bit annoying on this fight because you have to drag your pet across great distances, as you'll see. So basically the fight works this way. These circles, you spawn webs on the ground. And the boss does Gossamer Burst, which pulls you in close. And actually knocks you off the platform. Unless you get pulled over one of these webs. So you'll see him pre-positioning behind the web for the Gossamer Burst, which comes now. Which pulls me towards the boss. But because I'm standing behind the web, I get slowed down and I don't get knocked off. That is the fundamental of the fight. But normally, and I'm not sure if this was bugged on the beta, you're supposed to get a 50% slow debuff after you hit the web. The way you clear this debuff is by standing in the green circles left by the small spiderlings as they die. You'll see people stand in them over here. But as you could see, I got knocked through a web and I didn't get affected for some reason. What we also noticed here is if you click this, in some cases, you keep, actually I want to go back and show that. When you click this gateway, it seems that whatever momentum you have going into the ice patches on the ground, you keep. So if you disengage onto the ice path, you'll actually slide at disengage speed for a significant distance. Watch some of my teammates here as we click the gateway, and you'll see on the other side how quickly they move. They are zooming all the way up to the top of the stairs because they're carrying on the momentum. I didn't do that for some reason on this particular pull, but I did on every single other occasion. So here it's a little bit spicy because there's a Gossamer Burst but no webs. So here I like to use Disengage to basically counteract the pull. So I disengage there as I'm getting close to the edge. And that is pretty reliable if you can't find a web to stand behind. Another thing worth noting is that if you do get the debuff from standing in one of these web pools, you can simply use Disengage with your post-haste talent to clear the debuff, which is a slow. But yeah, other than that, every platform is basically the same so far. The only changes on the last platform. This was a little bit of a messy pull. We didn't get that far. You can see half the raid is dead. But you basically see most of the mechanics except for phase 3. So this ad spawns the big arachnid and it does insane AoE raid damage. So you just want to nuke it down. Save some cooldowns. Swap to it the moment it spawns and don't let up. If the tanks are brave, they can pull it a little bit closer to the boss, and you can see my beast cleave is actually cleaving onto the boss, which is rather nice. That is nice little fact about beast cleave's range. Here you get the web debuff, which spawns the webs. I'm just ideally you want to place them in a line, like a sort of horizontal line relative to the boss. The reason for that is you don't want to get pulled into more than one web. So here's the Gossamer Burst. I'm just ignoring the webs because I know I can disengage it like this. But the others obviously have to stand behind the webs. To get slowed down. But you don't want like a line of webs going towards the boss because that increases the chance that someone will get the slow debuff for no good reason. Also, if you get 5 stacks of the web slow, you get encased in a web completely, and you can only be broken out if someone kills a spiderling on top of you. Alright, so this is basically a wipe at this point, but we're just kind of playing on. People have already started logging off, as you can see in the chat. It's basically over. Here it's pretty fun. There's no web, but once again I could disengage, and I think there's a point later where it gets interesting as well. But yeah, just doing the same mechanic. I think maybe I get another web here. Oh, not quite. Alright. So yeah, pretty basic fight so far. Same repetition of the first 2 platforms. As you can see, I'm saving my CDs for this arachnid right here. Just sending absolutely everything, my Bestial Wrath, my Death Chakram, and soon my Wailing Arrow as well, my Steel Trap, which I haven't really used that diligently throughout this fight. And I should say that I'll add the build and logs for this pull in the description below, where you can also find a link to my Patreon, which is where you can get coaching, access to Dragonflight Hunter Sims and stuff and whatnot. Here you can see, okay, so I want to go back over this. So here, I get a new debuff that appears later in the fight. I believe, what is it called? It's called Enveloping Webs. Basically, after 5 seconds, you get encased in a web. But I use Turtle here, as you can see, and that completely negates the effect as it expires. So normally here I would get webbed. I think someone else might have been. but turtle negates that effect, so that's good to know. And then right after, so you can see here in the middle of my screen, I have the purple debuff, which is the web slow, because I'm also dropping webs. But I use disengage here, and that breaks it immediately. And here you could see briefly that as I disengaged onto an icy patch, I kept the momentum for a little bit. So it's a pretty hectic fight, but fun fight as a MM. So here's another pull. And I basically had a web in front of me, got a little bit lucky there, could have gone a lot worse like I did for some of my teammates. Yeah, nothing special here. We're kind of basically just wiping, just hanging over survival. I see an opportunity to pad, and you know, I take it, like who wouldn't? We're wiping, so yeah, and that's basically the end. So here, I think maybe, yeah, okay, so here you see me disengage onto the ice, I believe. And you can see I keep the momentum from the disengage running up it. As long as I keep moving, I'm like kind of disengage speed. And here I got lucky because like, well, I saw the Gossamer Burst coming. So I run in the opposite direction. And when I get pulled, and I don't have disengage because I just used it again onto the ice patch. It's a little bit spicy. But I basically narrowly make it by letting myself get pushed onto this icicle here. And that's basically the end of the pull. Tank is dead. We don't really get to see much more mechanically. So yeah, I hope you found that useful if you're researching hunters or just the fights going into Dragonflight. Yeah, so enjoy the expansion. Wishing everyone watching a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.